So today we have the pleasure of welcoming our guest speaker, Dr. Ann Corwin. Dr. Corwin's work regarding brain and behavior has been published in journals, Cookie Magazine, Simple Life Magazine, and many newspapers.
Dr. Corwin has developed practical parenting programs for parents and their children. With a PhD in marriage, family, and child therapy, and a master's degree in education, she has dedicated many years of her life helping thousands of families.
Also, Dr. Corwin has appeared in television on PBS station, KCET, Cox Cable, and more. Thank you for being here today, and let's give Dr. Corwin a warm welcome.
How you guys doing? Good. Good to see all of you here. I'm going to be talking to you for a few minutes about your bodies and your brains and what that has to do with your behavior. Really, the first thing I want to talk about is that your life right now in particular is kind of like this Coke. There's a lot of ingredients in this Coke right now, and in this Coke, there's some stuff that's not really that great for you, but it's still in your life. And what ends up happening is you got a lot of stuff in your life that gets kind of shook up. Things like someone might be mean to you. Things like you think that you might be invited to a party and all of your friends are invited, but oh, by the way, you weren't invited. Could be something going on in your family, your mom, your dad getting a divorce. Could be that grandma's sick. Could be any one of a number of things, just like this Coke. And if you shake it up, gets too shook up, then it's going to explode all over the place. But if you, put this down for a second. If you tap into, can you guys hear me in the back? Okay. If you tap into your Coke, into your life, you keep tapping into the things that will help you learn how to deal with all the ingredients in your life that are really hard to deal with. If you tap into that and you figure out how am I going to deal with the way that I feel, then what ends up happening when you do decide that you're going to open up your life, then you hope, and I'm hoping right now, it won't explode all over me. So when you think about your brain and your body, think of it this way. So let's see, if we tapped into this enough, I'm going to open up this Coke. Yeah, what's happening with the people in the front row? They're a little worried. Guess what? Tapped into that Coke, we're good, huh? Tapped into that Coke, and you're fine. So, the first thing I want to tell you about is the most powerful part of your brain. The most powerful part of your brain is called your limbic system. It's your emotional brain. It's where you will say to yourself, I'm mad, I'm sad, I'm disappointed, I'm happy, I'm frustrated. All of your feelings are in the most powerful part of your brain. The best way to kind of think about it is like the best telephone system that hasn't been invented yet. You know how you're on your phone and you got dropped calls, right? And you're like, man, I was just in the middle of having a conversation and all of a sudden it's dropped. In your emotional brain, there's no dropped calls, ever. Ever, ever. So literally every single feeling that you have comes first. Even if you say to yourself, you know, I really don't want to be disappointed, or I don't want to be mad, or I don't want to be frustrated. Boy, I wish I wasn't embarrassed right now. It doesn't make any difference. You can talk to yourself about that as much as you want, but guess what? You're still going to feel it. You can't leave your feelings at home with you at the beginning of the day. You say, oh man, I'm just going to be happy and excited today, and I'm not going to have any of those other feelings that are tough for me to deal with. Your amygdala, which is where you have relationships in your brain, won't let you do it. Literally, you can't block those feelings from arriving. And here's the second most important thing to remember about that. The weakest part of your brain, as opposed to the strongest part of your brain, is right here in your forehead. Everyone touch your forehead. This is what's called your uh-oh. That's the weakest part of your brain. It's your prefrontal cortex, and what it does is it tells you whether you should do something or not do something according to how you feel. So your feeling comes first, and then this part of the brain gets a message, and that part of the brain says, hey, what should I do when I'm mad at my little brother? What should I do if I think the teacher is asking me to do something that's stupid? What should I do if I'm sad because my friends all of a sudden aren't hanging out with me and I don't know why? All of that happens, you're going to do something with your prefrontal cortex. So I'm here to teach you about what you can do to listen to the most powerful part of your brain and then figure out what you're going to do. Because the main thing that your parents, if they come to me and they ask me a question, you know what, the number one question that your parents asked me if they were talking to me, the number one question is, why is my kid doing that? I don't know why my child is doing that. Well, the reason you do every behavior that you do is because you have such a powerful emotional system. It's all tied together. Now, here's the cool thing. If you're feeling a feeling right now or a feeling at any point in your life, you have a tendency to think that feeling's going to stay with you forever, and you can't really correct that feeling either, especially if it's making you feel a little down and out. Well, here's the good news. This part of your brain, your emotional brain, is one of the few parts of your brain that can do what's called regenerate itself. Even if it's damaged, even if you've had a lot of bad days in a row, it doesn't make any difference because that part of the brain will fire up again as soon as a new mood comes. If you're not quite believing me, I'll tell you about a part of your brain that doesn't regenerate itself. The part of the brain that doesn't is called your occipital lobe. It's how you're able to see. If a new baby is born and they can see out of both of their eyes perfectly well, and we put a patch over one of their eyes, and we leave that patch on 24/7 for the first 18 months of their lives, and then we take off that patch, guess what happens? That child is blind in that eye permanently. They cannot see again. But the part of your brain that I said is the most powerful part of your brain, your limbic system, you guys should all be looking up your amygdala. Your amygdala is an important thing to understand what you've got now. That's where you have relationships, you keep relationships, and you take them into long term. That's your amygdala and your emotional brain. So that emotional brain can just do wonderful things at any given point in time. So just when you're feeling that things aren't going to work out, remember, I can change my mood. The two major ways to change your mood, to go from one mood to another mood, one feeling to another feeling, is music and movement. So if you're feeling down and out, you want to do some exercise. You want to tell your body that I can make myself feel better if I move. And music also. Singing when you come to school, singing on the way to school, singing before you take a test, listening to some music before you take a test in the morning is one of the best ways to get your brain ready. Because feelings are hard to describe. Like if you look up the definition of a feeling, guess what it will say? If you wanted to tell somebody what's the definition of a feeling, it's a vague awareness. Are you guys all clear now on what a feeling is? A vague where the heck is, I have no idea where that feeling is. I can't even touch it. So for the last couple of years, I've been working on a program where you can actually see your feelings, touch your feelings, and know exactly where they are. And we're going to play a game right now to show you how you can teach yourself about your feelings that will have everything to do with how you behave. So what I have here is I have a bag, a pocket, because you carry around your feelings in your pockets with you all the time. I have a bag of feelings here. There's like 15 of them. They all have different colors. And in this bag, you can actually pull out your feeling, and all I want you to do is 3 things. When you pull out the feeling, you have to tell everybody what feeling you picked out, and you cannot look. You can't look in here and say, oh gee, I want this feeling or that feeling, because we can't decide when our feelings come. You pick in the bag, you pick out a feeling, then all I want you to do is tell me if you've ever had the feeling, and then what do you usually do when it comes? That's all you have to do. Is